Germany's monopoly territory is home to 17 million people.
Families already struggle to pay their bills.
AGD was convicted of 91 felonies.
Really? I mean, what's next?
Welcome to the Graybeard Talks Solar YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching the video today. Today, I'm going to be talking about Trump Derangement Syndrome, solar, and puppies. How do these things relate? Well, you're going to just have to stay tuned for the discussion. But thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share the video if you find it to be informative and interesting. All right, so let's jump into it. So I was thinking the other day, I hear this term, TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome. And so effectively, I understood kind of what it was, but I wanted to look up the official definition of it. And so here it is. Trump Derangement Syndrome is a pejorative term used to describe intense, irrational reactions to former U.S. or current U.S. President Donald Trump, where individuals' strong negative emotions are perceived to impair their judgment. The term suggests that such individuals are unable to objectively assess Trump's actions or policies due to their deep-seated animosity for the man. So effectively what this is a term used to describe people that are acting out of nothing but emotion, you know, objecting to him based on that emotion, that animus that's there. And so it sparked something in me based on a conversation that I'd had with another homeowner regarding solar. And this particular person was a family member of somebody that I had been talking to, somebody that had responded to our radio show program and texted into us. Very interested gentleman in solar, showed him a great program, had great success. He wants to move forward with it. And then 3-4 days later, he reaches out and pulls the brakes on it and says that he and his family had talked and maybe they were going to choose to just stay where they were. And so in an effort to talk to this particular person and just understand and make sure that they're making the best decision that they can for their family, I called for a meeting if they were open to it, a family Zoom meeting. Let's all jump on the line and let's see what's going on here. And during that meeting, they did agree. And during that meeting, I was introduced to somebody that is a family member of theirs. I believe that this person was their son. And the only way that I could describe his responses to me and some of the arguments that were presented by him to me was it was the equivalent of solar derangement syndrome. Everything that he could imagine, everything that he could think of, he was pushing our way, whether it made sense or not. And it was basically an emotional argument to solar. He'd had a bad experience, had some people that he had knew that had a bad experience, and that bad experience colored his perception of how solar works or it doesn't work, and effectively made him blind to receiving any information from us at all that was positive or, you know, optimistic about how solar could help that particular family address their energy concerns and the costs that they were paying for utility energy. And so, you know, it likened for me. And one of the things that I said to him, I said, I feel like you're not really hearing some of the things that I'm saying. I recognize that you had a bad experience. I recognize that you maybe have some feelings, negative feelings about solar. But I feel like in an attempt to try to, you know, come alongside your family, I feel like some of that's coloring your overall view of what I'm saying with you. In other words, you're not seeing any positives at all. Every time I say something, it's like you're bringing up the negative equivalent of it or another objection. And that's why I'm tying the two of them together. I do think sometimes what you see, whether you like Trump or don't like Trump or like his policies, don't like the man, like his character, don't like his character, you know, whether any of that persists, you know, objectively taking emotion out of it, looking at actions that he's taking, is there anything that's positive that you can see? Is there anything that you would acknowledge that, you know what, in a normal circumstance, if somebody else did that, I might be able to get behind that? And if you're emotionally reacting to it, then that's not a good headspace to be in to make proper decisions. And the same is true of solar. Solar has changed so much. I've been in the industry 5 years, and I barely recognize the industry today as compared to 5 years previous. And in our industry, there's a term that we use to talk about the rapid pace of this change, and it's called the solar coaster. We tell people that we're riding the solar coaster every day. And it's up, it's down, it spins you around. Sometimes it makes you want to vomit. All of things, persist. All of those things are true. It definitely is the solar coaster. But the reason that I wanted to chat about Trump Derangement Syndrome, solar, and puppies, I'll get to the puppy example in just a second, is I want people to understand that solar, the industry, is very malleable. It adjusts quickly. It changes often, which brings me to the puppy example in the teaser here. So how do solar, puppies, and Trump Derangement Syndrome work? Well, little backstory, little personal story for me. I recently, after almost 40 years, have purchased and had a new dog, a puppy. The last time I had a dog was when I was 18. It was a dog that I'd gotten when I was 5, and the last time that we were together, I was, unfortunately taking her into, she just was at the end of her life, and so that was my last dog at 18, and so I ended up with a new puppy, a Doberman puppy, and her name is Harley. And given the fact that I hadn't been around puppies in a very, very long time, I didn't understand how quickly they change, right? Now, as I look back, my dog now is 15 months old, and she's been as big as she is now for probably 6-7 months of that time. So in other words, in a very short period of time, my little puppy in probably 4 months became a dog. Right? And if you could slow-mo, it almost looks like you could watch them and see how quickly that they're changing. And it's reminiscent for me of how quickly solar is changing. Utility rates change. PG&E, for example, gone up tremendously in the last 4 years. Okay, changes the solar equation for many people when the cost of the energy that you're buying has risen so dramatically in the last 3, 4, 5 years. In addition to that, solar crediting has changed. The California Public Utilities Commission changed solar in 2023, in April of 2023, implementing NEM 3. That change gave rise to now 2 different battery options. Maybe if you'd looked at solar before, there was only one battery option. The cost of those batteries has come down. The crediting rate has come down. Well, the crediting rate gave rise to another change. We're seeing more and more programs trying to enhance the benefit of solar today versus programs that were around previously in how they store energy, process that energy, the panel efficiency, etc. Those things are changing. Right now, we've got Trump in office and we've got the threat of tariffs. Tariffs are basically a tax on foreign goods coming into the United States. A lot of solar componentry is coming from other parts of the world. So that's a change that we're navigating now. So you've got crediting rate changes, you've got interest rate changes, you've got economic changes, you've got utility increasing the cost, and all of these things. So imagine a 15 variable algebraic equation, and that's kind of the solar industry. And if you change any one of those variables, it's going to change the potential outcome for you. So all of this is in an attempt to just basically make this point. Solar is not a destination that you go visit. Like I went recently to the Rome Colosseum in Rome, right? It was a beautiful, beautiful trip. Loved seeing that history. Loved imagining how many people had witnessed that particular facility, that Rome Colosseum, what had happened there in the times that it's been around. But once you go there, you may or may not want to go back, but you've seen it, right? So some of you out there watching this video may have explored solar 3 years ago, 2 years ago even. Maybe it didn't work for you then, but since then, PG&E's raised rates, utility costs has gotten more expensive, maybe you're using more energy than you used to use. So the variables of the solar equation have changed. And so instead of thinking of solar as a destination, hey, it didn't work 3 years ago, so it's not going to work today, or I visited it once and loved it or didn't like it or whatever, and I don't feel a need to go back there. Imagine solar more as a long cross-country journey with multiple stops along the way. What I really mean by that is you got to check in, see what's new, see what's changed. Your circumstances may have changed. You may be using more energy, or maybe that energy is more costly. Solar programs have changed. Ever since interest rates came up, there's more varied and different types of programs that don't make you buy systems any longer. Maybe you don't need the tax credit. Maybe you do need the tax credit. And stated differently is that if you revisit it, if you have an earnest interest in mitigating the cost that you pay with utility, if you revisit solar, it will have changed for you. The current economics of the programs available now and what you can do now is different from a solar broker to you. It's different than it was 6 months ago. It's definitely different than a year ago, and extremely different than 2, 3, 4 years ago. So it's important that if you really want to analyze this. Now, some people will say to me, "Well, those changes are part of the reason I don't want to explore solar. If I get it now and then it changes in the future, then I messed up." Well, what I'm talking about really is the economics for you personally and how the system works now. Once it's in place, your usage, more than likely, the older you get, the more static it becomes. Stated differently, the more people you have in their house, raising kids, that kind of thing, teenagers, the more your energy usage varies. When you get to be of retirement age, it's usually just you and your spouse, okay? You're in the house that you're going to probably die in, and you love it, and you use it the way that you use it, and there's less, uncertainty about your amount of energy that you're consuming. And so as a result of that, solar can be a great investment to make, a great strategic investment for your property to mitigate that expense. Because in retirement, the one thing that you don't want is consistently, above average rise in costs that you have to incur. Stated differently, the cost of energy has been rising well beyond what most people's retirement income is rising at. And so that's a jeopardy. That's like sticking a hole in your retirement bucket and seeing money leak out. That's what's happening right now in the solar industry. So in summary here, Trump Derangement Syndrome, there's so many people out there that understand it's acting emotionally, not seeing any positive event or effect at all of his decisions or his policymaking or his executive orders, etc. Well, I relate that in solar. There's some people that are just so blinded because of a bad experience, a poor experience, or something that they knew 3, 4, 5 years ago that they can't recognize that it's a completely different asset today. And so I want to encourage you, if you haven't looked at solar for a while, please do, because using the puppy analogy, it changes as quickly as a puppy grows into a dog. I mean, it's just like lightning speed. You just blink and they're no longer those little cuddly things that you held in the palm of your hand. It's a full-grown dog, right? So solar matures the same way. It's growing constantly. That's why we typically call it the solar coaster. So if you'd like to explore it with us, we've got more programs than we've ever had before. We have more meaningful savings that we can generate for you. We've got programs that don't require you to come out of pocket any money at all. And all of this is available to you as a knowledge-first, information-first solar company. We educate you before we talk about solutions for your problems. So we really want you to be understanding of how these programs work. Part of the reason that I do this Graybeard Talk Solar video series is to attempt to impart knowledge, wisdom, information to you that could be useful in that process. And so if you do enjoy that, then here's what you can do. You can text YouTube to 84503. If you text YouTube to 84503, it'll give us an opportunity to connect with you directly. We can explore all of the different options that are available, because definitely solar is different now than maybe the last time you looked at it, if you've ever looked at it before. So one more time, if you text YouTube, that word YouTube, to 84503, a 5-digit text code number that we have, that will connect you with my team. It'll connect you with our office, our SolarWise brokerage office, and will help you to explore solar more diligently than maybe you've ever done it before, and hopefully give you a lot more information about the current programs that are available right now in 2025 than you've ever had available before. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks for watching the Graybeard Talk Solar channel, where a little wisdom goes a long way toward turning sunshine into serious savings for you and your family. Please don't forget to smash the like, subscribe, and share buttons, and stay charged, stay informed, and keep shining. Graybeard out.
Thanks for listening to SolarWise, Graybeard Talk Solar. Please visit our website, solarwiseco.com, to learn more, and we will see you next time on SolarWise.